Lovely. Good morning and welcome. Normal head to toe warm up. Let's start with the legs wide for a nice space and we'll circle ahead. So we'll take a couple of rotations in each direction. So feel free to close your eyes just to help you settle in to having the next 30 minutes for yourself. Focusing on your body. Any gentle sway with the shoulders, all lovely. And take it the other way. Soft jaw, soft face. And we get ready to move on to the shoulders. Take the shoulders forward, up, squeezing to the ears. Flip the palms, reach the wall behind you, and then reach for the floor. Twice more. Chin can come to the chest. Shoulders forwards, lift. Flip the palms and shoulders back and down. For the last one, we'll take a bend in the elbows at the end. Shoulders forwards, lift up, flip the palms, and now palms facing upwards, elbows into the waist as though they're trying to meet behind your back. Nice long neck. Hands on the hips, and let's take a nice warmer for the hips. Oh, hamstrings, hello, good morning. So feeling your way around your leg muscles, also warming up the waist. Anyone who's feeling particularly limber, we can take the arms into a nice big yawning stretch all the way around. We're still in the same direction, or keep it contained to the legs, working on mobility of the hips, and let's take it the other way. So today we've got a couple of exercises where we'll toggle between two, and for no reason other than to pick a number, we're going to do 4 of each. I think sometimes it's good to mentally prepare how many you've got to bear. All right, let's move on to the knees, feet hip distance apart. Hold the knees, let's go in the same direction. Feet stay on the floor, so it's a small movement. So whilst we never want to destabilize the knees or, overload them on one side for any length of time, and then obviously as we walk on an uneven floor, if we lose our footing, take it in the other direction, we'll end up needing to strengthen the muscles to return to the more stable central point. So we're warming up the muscles on either sides of the legs for the ankles and the knees, and then onto the ankles. Let's lift, hold a wall, a chair if you need to, and let's draw a nice big circle with the toes, the ankle, and the other way. We'll stretch the muscles on the top of the foot by softening your standing leg and thinking about the toe and the big toe and the second toe and finding length. So I've put the top of the foot on the floor and I'm almost drawing my weight forwards to try and find length in the top of the foot. To get to the next 3 toes, we'll go to the side a little bit and just find that length. You might cramp up, in which case just lean back on bent toes and then rejoin us, just finding length in the smallest 3 toes. And then let's mobilize the other ankle. So changing feet, let's circle. And the other way. Soften your standing leg, it just helps us with our balance. We can get that pelvic tilt so the core's working so that we can start to stretch the top of the other foot. Think about the big toe and the second toe. Plant the weight. We're not putting weight on that back foot. If anything, we're leaning into this front foot and almost drawing away from the back foot to find length in those toes. And then a little bit of a swivel around. We can work into the 3 smallest toes. Definitely no loading weight onto the foot, just a gentle stretch. And then shake out the legs. We're coming to a wide leg stance and working the waist a little bit more into the hamstrings, arms open wide. Now, if we think about gliding as if the rib cage was gliding on a tabletop in that horizontal movement side to side, but with the arms out wide. Let's go a few times side to side, so the hips down, no movement at all. Just feeling how far you can go. Feel that work into the waist, how we're holding the body in place, the other side. And then let's meet over on the left. The right arm lifts up and overhead for deep side bend. Pause here. Now keep your glutes squeezed, your feet gripping the floor. We're taking a closed twist, so this lower hand on the hip, so your chest rolling down to the floor, your fingers reaching for the side wall. So we're twisting and folding, reaching to the side. Follow that movement down to the ankle, bow the head. If it's very tight on the back of the leg, you can gently bend the knee and straighten, no forcing. Couple of breaths, letting your body weight by releasing the back of the leg rather than forcing. We follow the movement across to the right ankle and then open all the way to our starting position. Are we ready? Over to the other side, just working into the waist here, and then we'll meet over on the right. Left arm up and over, so we take our first big side bend. You can support the body here with the lower hand on the hip. So chest pointing forwards, squeeze the glutes, legs are active. And then that closed twist. So hand now on the waist if it isn't already. Chest parallel to the floor, reaching with that flat back closed twist, working into the back of the legs as well, spreading the weight over the feet, all the way down to the ankle and fold. Again, a little bend in the knee, so no locking out the knee. The twist, wide leg fold. Nice softness in the neck. Make sure you're not holding the neck, the head in a particular position. And let's close this by working all the way over to the left ankle and coming back up to standing. Float the arms down. All right, the first of our little flows will be extended side angle into warrior two. So keep it nice and easy. Positions you know. So we'll start with the toes pointing forwards. Then left toes out at a 90-degree angle. Bend the knee so it's tracking over the toes. Use your forearm to keep that inner thigh stretch going, but hips square to the front, and let's lift the top arm overhead. Squeeze the glutes, find length here. Now by pressing the feet into the floor and engaging the core, coming up to warrior two, we have this vertical line at the center of the body, arms parallel to the floor, shoulders back and down, and let's turn to look at the front middle finger. That's one, so we've got three more. So grip the floor with the feet, strong, long through the spine and the neck into extended side angle. Almost think about turning your chest and your belly to the ceiling, so we keep a nice open chest. And then back to warrior two. Look at the middle finger, shoulders back and down, slight pelvic tilt. Knees still tracking over the toe. Two more. Taking the side bend, shoulders relax. So not losing the neck here. Squeezing the glutes, a yummy stretch right over the hip. Into your warrior two. We're working the heart, keeping the arms, or at least one arm over the level of the heart throughout. And let's have our last set. Lovely. Float the arms down, give a shrug. Toes forwards, and let's have the right toes to the right wall. Checking your form initially so the knee's not collapsing in. When we're happy, we've got a nice position. Let's take an extended side angle the other side. If at any point you need to come out and just step the feet together to reset, that's all good. So we're just pausing on this first one to stretch into the fingers, feeling the length down the whole of the side of the body, turning the chest to face the front. Now pressing into the floor, holding yourself there to come to warrior two. Long vertical line, shoulders back and down, slight pelvic tilt, knees still open. And let's carry on. So the elbow is almost helping to increase that hip opening. And our core muscles really pulling in to support that weight to return to your warrior two, Virabhadrasana two. Keep going. The next linked postures that we'll be doing, the triangle to reverse triangle. I've lost count, so we're going to do one more set. And we will briefly step the feet together just so that we can have a little reset. So when you're ready, you can kick out, kick back. If few times, and then we'll set up with the same wide stance. Let's have the left toes to the leg. Pick up your right heel and angle so that this hip can draw down a little bit. Arms wide, that initial movement that we did to warm up, to prepare, gliding the ribs to one side, palms forwards, and take that side bend. Not concerned about where the hand gets to, more about thinking long through the spine, chest open wide, keeping this hip slightly dialed down. Okay, reverse warrior, grip the floor with the feet, pull in your core, legs stay in the same position, hand on the back leg, and take a lean. Try to think about length and finding spaces. Let's keep going. Legs are staying straight, so just windmilling the arms side to side. Let's think about the shoulder blades now. If we're standing against a wall, just so that we don't start rounding the shoulders, let's keep the shoulders back and down. If it's awful for your neck looking up, just don't. Look down at the floor or just place the head where it's comfortable. Are we ready to move to the other side? Maybe you were 2 reps ago. Let's change the feet, right toes out to the side, and then let's kind of angle the back foot in so we can dial the hip down a little bit. Arms, upper body, flip the palms forwards and take your first triangle, Trikonasana on this side. Wide wingspan, again find space rather than collapsing down. Press into the floor to take your reverse triangle. So legs stay straight to squeeze in the glutes, flowing side to side. So the head can be with your gaze down to the floor. Could maybe follow that top hand. So let's keep a slight pelvic tilt. So that's where your Pilates comes in, so that we're not exaggerating the curve and ending up with that kind of lordotic curve where we can overstrain those lower back muscles. Keep a nice long line in the tailbone. Wonderful. We'll kick the legs back after all that straight leg work. And now that was very much in a wide position. We're now going to come into more of our Pilates plumb line with the toes forwards, feet hip distance apart. We're linking actually 4, 5 things here. We're going to float the arms up, heels up. The heels are going to come down to the floor, flat back fold. So we're working towards a 90-degree angle. Let's see if we can keep the knees and the hips over the ankles. So it's very strenuous, reaching into the fingertips. Now the movement for the next chair comes from the knees. So we keep the arms in line roughly with the ears on the side of the body. We can make sure we can still see the toes, so the weight's into the heels. The next one, we're melting down into a fold, straightening the legs and rolling up through the spine. Do we have that? We have 3 more. So the arms float up, shoulders back and down. Spread the weight over the balls of the feet. Think down through the big toe and roll the inner thighs forwards. Neutral spine, close the ribs, arms parallel. Float the heels down. Flat back fold, so straight legs, long line from the base of the spine to the fingertips. Knees bend, keeping an eye on the toes, not falling back like I just did. Finding a secure position, weight into the heels, and then we can rain it all the way down to a fold, ready for a roll up. Last 2 times. Always start, reset, hip distance apart. Draw in the core here. So we've got that vertical lift rising up to the balls of the feet. Feel that work into your calf muscles. And come into a flat back fold. So the weight's really as much into the toes as the heels. Effect comes right forwards. And then the knees bend in that lovely line. What we're concentrating on here is those train track lines, so we're using a balanced force on either side of the joint here. We can fold and roll up, ready for the last time. And reach. So as soon as we squeeze the glutes, it helps us to come to that neutral spine position. If we press down through the balls of the feet and slightly together, we've got the strength of the inner thighs. Last time we get that flat back fold. Reaching into the fingertips. Transitioning into the chair. Long through the spine. And then rolling it down. Straightening up. And roll up through the spine. Have a little swing around the spine, arms nice and heavy, relax, lifting the back heel so that the knees aren't compromised. Next one, we're just going to take a twist to prepare us for taking the standing stool, and then we're down to the mat. So let's start with feet hip distance apart again. We'll hold the head in the hands, press the head back into the hands, back of the head in line with the back of the pelvis. We're just taking a twist. Lower body stays exactly where it is. And we're twisting the upper body, head, neck, shoulders, ribs, twist, but keep the hips to the front. Shoulders down, neutral spine, long spine. Just sense where the restriction is when we can go no further. Bringing out the waist and then coming center. 3 more on that side. We won't hold it, it's just the first one to get that sense, to set up the form, so we're lengthening through the spine throughout rather than wringing out and crunching down through the spine. We maintain that length before we reset to the front. Shoulders down, keep pressing the head back into the fingers, very tempting for the head to drop forwards. Last time to the side. Twist, so make your hips work in the opposite direction and then come center. You need to shrug out, do so, and then we'll take it to the other side, then the standing stool. So slight pelvic tilt, chin in towards the neck. Use the out breath so that we can draw the front ribs together more easily. Navel into the spine, head, neck, shoulders, ribs all the way around, and work the hips to the front. 3 more times. Shoulders relaxed and down, head back in line. So if we were to stack the pelvis, the ribs and the head, they will be perfectly vertically stacked. Find that twist. Legs are active, they're helping to keep the hips square to the front. All these muscles we're using here, they're the ones that will help to keep us in a nice upright position when we're in a soft, squidgy sofa. Wonderful. Shake out. And then the standing stool is with the legs wide again. It's that closed twist and reach that you're soaring beyond the little toe twice and then standing tall. So joining when you're ready. It'll be 4 sets. So breathe in as you come to your reset. Breathe out, out. Then reset, out, out, in. 2 more sets. Last one. And then I'll adjust my cameras down slightly and we'll all meet on all 4s when we've finished this set. So when you're ready, you toe and hip your feet in, give the legs a little bit of a shake out, and we can take a roll down and meet on the mat. When you're ready. Is that low enough? So we'll dive straight into cat-cow, and then we're going to work the glutes and take a cow face pose. So when you're ready, breathe in to look up, stick the bottom out. Let's have those toes pointing to the wall behind you, not curving in towards each other. The breath out, press away from the floor, around the back, lift the navel, stretch the back of the body. Last time, breathing in to look up, claw into the fingertips and the other side, knuckles. And reverse. Great. Coming to your flat back, neutral spine, lift one of your legs, it doesn't matter which. So the foot, the sole of the foot shining up to the ceiling. Try and keep the hips square to the floor, shoulders back and down. And we're lifting, but try to think about your shin reaching the wall behind you. So we're thinking about trying to create space in the hip joint and the knee. It's a small lift. And again, we've said this before about thinking more about length than a lift. If I go too far, I'm just taking all the work into the lower spine. So we're strengthening the glutes, the upper thigh muscles, and finding length in the hip. So let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1. 4 hip circles. Take the knee in, across the opposite elbow, same elbow out to the side, and all the way up and over. There's 1. So just think about circling the hip. Don't think about or try to create a nice shape it will be. Just working your way around the body. Last 1. And then we're taking a cow face pose. So the leg that you're working is going to be placed on the behind and on the outside of the knee on the floor. So your active knee is behind. So once we've got the knees stacked, open the feet. And we'll all be at different points here. Maybe you can sit back onto the floor. Maybe we need to keep the weight into the forearms and just gently coax the body weight back, hips towards heels. So just find somewhere along that way where you start to feel that stretch into the hips. Wherever you are, great. As long as you're feeling that stretch release in the hips, this is perfect. So finding your position where you can start to settle into this a little bit, so it may be on your forearms. It's quite nice to come into a forward fold, and if you're all the way down towards the thighs, resting your chin or your forehead, can make it a little bit easier to relax. We've got 4 rounds of breath here. So close your eyes, choose your position, and try to let go of clenching in the hips. Start to think about lovely, fluffy, squidgy, soft, youthful things, nice, youthful muscles, and breathe in deeply to the hips and breathe out softening. 3 more breaths. Taking your time to feel heaviness through the body, releasing down, relaxing, nurturing the joints. Probably all around the 4th breath now. So very slowly, rebuilding the spine. We'll take the body weight forwards again into the hands and reset back to your all 4s. Your other leg, we're taking into that glute lift. So when you're ready from a neutral spine, lift, and it's a small pulse without arching the spine. Think about lengthening through the hip. So feel that leveling of the hips. And when you're ready, let's press up, but lengthen. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then that circling of the hip across and open and behind. Again. So try to keep your shoulders over your wrists. If you can, keep the arms straight. So we're really focusing on the movement in the hip joint. So again, it's the active leg. That knee is going to be placed behind your static leg. Opening the feet and lowering yourself down. So body weight into the forearms and guiding the hips back if that's where you are today or on this side. And as soon as you're ready, closing your eyes, finding your position, finding softness and focusing on your breath. If it's just unbearable, straighten out the lower leg or maybe add a little bit of rocking. So we know that rhythmical movements are really helpful to switch into that parasympathetic nervous system and just calming down, softening, and just aid us to reach that more restful state. It's a nice, easy breath in and out of the nose. If anything, see if you can extend that exhalation so that we've got the benefit that restorative, restful exhalation. Soft, released. And if we're all roughly on the fourth breath, slowly roll up through the spine, lift the head, we're coming down onto the belly. So initially through all fours. You can take a little vinyasa here, so into the toes, lowering down, and we'll meet on the mat. Fingers out either side of the shoulders, release your toes, tilt the pelvis, forehead to the floor. So initially we're doing press-ups on the fingertips. Squeeze the shoulder blades together down and towards the waist and float up. Same thing, we're looking for length rather than height. And lower down. 3 more. Squeeze together, lower the shoulder blades and lift. And lowering down. Keep going. Keep the gaze down. So we want to keep a nice line right up into the cervical spine. So remember, no creases in the back of the neck. If you need to take a child pose before we go to the locust, feel free, sit back on the heels. Otherwise, arms either side of your hips now. Palms facing down to the floor. Roll the shoulders away from the mat with the toes and float the body up. It's a much smaller lift because we don't have the weight going through the arms now. It's all the upper body weight into the upper back and slowly lower. We've got 3 more here. Keep the pelvis tilting, so find length through the tailbone as we lift. Core strong, so as lower down. Keep going with another 2 like this before we take a child pose. As we roll the shoulders away from the floor, we want to keep a length through the tailbone and a kind of lift engagement in the core. So think about pulling the ribs together and lifting the navel away from the floor. Last one, and then you've got a child pose. Rolling the shoulders back, find length. Maybe the legs float up, stretching through to the fingertips. And well done. Press the hands into the floor under the shoulders, tuck your toes, and take a well-deserved poppy pose. Bottom up in the air, walk the fingers forwards and rest the forehead down. Then you can just let the hips sway side to side. Feeling that nice stretch in the arms, armpits back. And last of all, we're coming onto our backs. Nearly there, you've got 2 minutes for a little core livener. So let's start with a hug on the back. And we're going to extend the legs up to the ceiling. Hold the head in the hands and take a curl up. So we're fully supporting the neck. We've got a hammock for the head here. Now take the left leg to a tabletop and we're doing hip circles with the other leg. Now listen, when we lower the leg, the toes are pointing to the ceiling. Now externally rotate so the knee is pointed to the side wall as you draw that semicircle and we return to the top. It will make it a smoother semicircle. So we've got 3 more of those. Slowly, with control, let's try and knit the front ribs together, navel in. So we lengthen the leg. Externally rotate. So if it's the right leg, the right toes, and knee point to the right wall. So you're pointing the knee in the direction you're going and lifting. 2 more if you're going at the same speed as me. So let's try and keep the neck long, jaw soft. So I'm ticking as many boxes as I can with this. Hip mobility, core strength, the stabilizers, keeping the hips level. Let's make 1 more, our last, and then we switch sides. Start with the legs up to the ceiling. Bend the leg you've been working. Retilt the pelvis in front of the spine. So we lower the leg. Turn the toes out to the side, so leading with the toes, and then they return to that neutral position overhead. For more work, we lower the legs, both thighs. If you've got the strength in your core to maintain that imprint in the spine, low is good. If you're arching the spine, take the knees in and maybe keep the bend in both knees. So finding your level for the last two, and then we'll take a full body stretch. So jaw soft, using that hammock around the head to almost draw the head away. So whenever we think about drawing bone away from bone, we're finding space, decompression, and a nice breather for the muscles. All right, hug the knees into the chest, take a full body stretch, rock the head side to side, pause for a moment to stretch your fingers wide, the toes wide, no rushing to get up, only when you're ready, rocking to one side, and slowly push yourself up. And thank you for joining me.